What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here. I've got another NIO update. We have a lot of news that has come out over the last couple of days here that we absolutely have to talk about. We're going to be talking about the chart and kind of going over whether or not I was correct in a lot of the outlining of price action that I've been giving you guys in the past here. We have the delivery numbers, we have new initiatives, we have updates on the offering, we have kind of some more insight into how these US tariffs are going to be affecting these Chinese EV companies. I'll give you a hint, it's probably not going to affect them at all because, again, a lot of these Chinese EVs do not have any plans to enter the US market anytime soon. So guys, before we get into all of that information, if you guys do enjoy the information and analysis that I provide for you guys in these videos here, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you absolutely nothing to do it, but it helps me out a whole lot in spreading these videos out to as many people who actually want to learn. Let's try and get this video to 500 likes. That would be absolutely awesome. And again, if you never want to miss another video like this, make sure you are subscribed and turn on notifications so you're notified every time these videos go live. So the first thing that I want to talk about with you guys here is just the overall chart of NIO. Now, remember, I have outlined this many times in the past that this is a very high risk investment moving forward. Again, there has been a lot of overpromise, under-deliver from NIO's management there, and they're really going to need to turn things around by the end of this year, especially with the recent Onvo launch and the upcoming launch of Firefly, in order to really hit these profitability goals and the other business goals that they have. But just looking at this chart here, for those of you guys that have been hanging around this channel, we have been outlining this zone between about $4.20 all the way down to about $3.61. Now, what I've said is that, again, it was very probable that we were going to trade down into this zone, but I would expect this zone to hold, and that's exactly what we've seen. We dropped below it by a couple of cents. Buyers stepped back in and bought this back up, and we are now trading just under $4 a share. Now, moving forward, what you have to be worried about here is a potential break and retest of this $4 area and then a potential move back to the downside. You're also going to have to deal with this daily 10 exponential moving average in blue here. If you can reclaim this area, you could end up going back into a period where you're chopping around in this kind of low to mid $4 range. But again, when you think about the price action of NIO, guys, it is going to be incredibly results driven. It's not like any one small piece of news is going to come out about this company and it's going to rocket up to $5-6 a share. They are going to need to show significant progress in the positive direction towards a lot of those profitability goals that they have outlined with deliveries, with the launch in the turnaround of Onvo, which we do have an update on that as well, and that launch of Firefly coming up in the near future. Now, let's get into the delivery data that NIO just released today, because we can gain a lot of insights from this and kind of a better understanding of where NIO sees their business and where their kind of competitive positioning is going to be moving forward. So NIO delivers 15,039 cars in March, up 14% from February. That is very solid. The beginning of the year for a lot of these new vehicle sales and deliveries is typically a bit lower. The monthly deliveries included 10,219 vehicles for the NIO main brand, which is actually less than what they were able to deliver in the same period last year. NIO delivered 42,094 vehicles in the first quarter, within the guidance range of 41,000 to 43,000 vehicles here. Again, and scrolling down a little bit further, we can see the trend kind of going into the beginning every single year. You do see a little bit of that drop off, and it starts to slowly move up going into the middle and the end of the year. Now, the Onvo sub-brand delivered 4,820 vehicles in March, an increase of 19% compared to the 4,049 vehicles in February. Now, again, we saw that really strong launch for Onvo, and then they ran into some issues along the way, and they are slowly starting to bottom out these deliveries and moving back to the upside there. So if NIO did not have this Onvo sub-brand right now, and they were just operating under their NIO main brand, well, these delivery numbers would look very weak. Again, obviously you do want to see the main flagship brand delivering lots of vehicles, but remember, NIO is a luxury and premium electric vehicle maker, and in this type of macro environment that we are in with the global economy, it is going to be very difficult for a lot of these everyday citizens to go out and justify spending all of this money money on an expensive or premium electric vehicle here. So again, Onvo is helping NIO meet these delivery expectations, and then having Firefly coming up in the near future as well, that could be a really strong sign of things to come, with delivery numbers slowly starting to move to the upside. Now, it's very apparent at this point, and everybody should understand that, again, the hopes and the expectations for Onvo were that it would be at a much different place right now than it currently is, in a much more positive place with these delivery numbers. But as I've said many times in the past, that NIO is going to need to make some management changes and some personnel changes in order to get the right people in place in order to meet their goals as a business. Now, whether that be from the NIO main brand or any of the sub brands and other different offerings that they have, this is something that absolutely needs to happen. So seeing something like this come through the newsfeed, NIO Group held a high-level decision-making meeting in the past 2 days. According to our exclusive sources, there will be significant personnel adjustments at Onvo. This is a step in the right direction here, but remember, these personnel adjustments need to come with results, or they're really meaningless at the end of the day. So again, it's great to see this in the present, but we really need to focus on what the results are going to be and who these new individuals potentially coming in are and what they are going to bring to the table to take NIO as a whole in the right direction. Now, we also have a couple of other pieces of news as it relates specifically to NIO. Before we talk a little bit about the big picture here, because again, I've seen a couple of comments on the YouTube videos over the last couple of weeks where I think some people just are misunderstanding a little bit of the big picture here, and we definitely have to talk about that as well. So, NIO CEO says equity raise was completed in 1 day, cites very good reaction. Amid the announcement, the EV maker said it expected the transaction to close on or about April 7th, subject to customary closing conditions. However, NIO founder Chief Executive William Li said at a media roundtable on Saturday during the 2025 China EV 100 Forum, the Chinese manufacturer completed its $518 million share placement in a single day. Li added that many long-term investors participated in the deal, showing confidence in their investment. Now, while I am not the biggest fan of doing these types of equity raises at the low, having a lot of demand coming in for this is a relatively strong sign for NIO in the future, showing that a lot of these investors are still willing to give NIO capital in order to move forward and progress in their business activities. Now, in addition to this, we also have NIO signing a new deal to build 100 swap stations with a new partner here. Again, this is the second such partnership NIO has entered into in the past few days as it continues to push forward with the construction of battery swap stations. NIO signed a similar deal in Beijing on March 26th to build 100 battery swap stations together. So again, that is coming off of the CATL partnership. Again, seeing these battery swap stations going up is again going to help the amount of battery swapping that NIO is able to do, and just kind of show everybody that this type of technology and the way of kind of powering these EVs is here to stay. Now, in addition to this, we do have to talk about these tariffs here. US tariffs have practically no impact on Chinese car makers, Bernstein says. Bernstein analysts see little risk for Chinese automakers from US President Donald Trump's latest pledge to impose 25% tariff on all foreign-made vehicles and most components starting from April 3rd. Chinese-made electric vehicles already face steep US tariffs, including a 100% rate raised from 25% by former President Joe Biden last year. In a new research note, Bernstein analyst Daniel Roska wrote that tariffs have practically no impact on Chinese auto OEMs or EV players, adding that none of the OEMs in our coverage have any or immediate plans to enter the US market. So guys, these new tariffs, these auto tariffs, are really not going to have an effect on NIO or any of these other Chinese EVs as a whole, because they're really not operating in the US markets at all. But that is basically going to wrap up this video here, guys. If you did enjoy the information and analysis I provided for you guys in this one, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it helps me out a whole lot in spreading this information out to as many people who actually want to learn. And again, if you never want to miss another video like this, make sure you guys are subscribed and turn on notifications so you're notified every time these videos go live. But until next time, guys, I will see you. Peace.